Holy moly, what a nail biter. What an absolute nail biter. So far, nobody has won New York City's mayoral's race. Nobody has won. You still have Maya Wiley, Catherine Garcia, Eric Adams. They all still can be eliminated. And so can Diane Morales. But she probably did not win. We could probably assume that Diane Morales probably did not win. But it's still up in the air for the top three candidates. It wasn't a week ago that they were calling Eric Adams' lead insurmountable. This is insurmountable. Eric Adams has this lead. He's going to keep on just, take this and run all the way home with it, right? Just like Assad's 95% or Ayatollah Khomeini's 155%. Insurmountable. Insurmountable. You keep on using that word. I don't think you know the meaning of the word insurmountable when Assad won with 95% of the vote against two of the opposition candidates that he picked with 3 hours before the polls were even closed. That's insurmountable. That's totalitarian dictatorship insurmountable. Yet even with AP prematurely declaring Adams the winner, even with the Associated Press, right? Who are the Associated? That's a corporation. It's a business, right? So even with this corporate business, prematurely, the Associated Press, just press who's associated, they declared Eric Adams the winner. And then CNN declared him the winner, so everybody's just kind of falling in line. Have we even counted all the votes? Have we even done this damn thing right yet? No. No, this is an unofficial preliminary result, but who gives a fuck, right? Who gives a shit? The Associated Press has prematurely declared Eric Adams the winner, and then he's declared himself the winner. Onwards to November, he says. But earlier he had said, well, it's still very close. We still got to count the votes. He's right. He was right to, okay, so there's 3,700 ballots that could still be cured. So the Board of Elections sent 3,700 ballots out to the people to fix whatever mistakes they thought that they had on their ballots, and then those ballots are going to be sent back in. Maybe, 25%? That's still 1,000 votes, right? So you got 3,700 ballots that can be cured, and you still have 7,700 absentee votes that need to be counted. So that's over 11,000 more votes to count, and all you need in order to get a recount to get triggered is a 4,500 vote count. So let's assume, okay, he might, maybe he wins, maybe he doesn't, but it's close enough to trigger a recount. And holy shit, could you imagine? We're going to count these ranked choice ballots by hand. What a nail biter. What an absolute exciting nail biter. This is great. This is exciting. This is how democracy should be. Catherine Garcia could end up winning this goddamn thing. Or maybe, maybe Maya Wiley or somebody else. Or maybe we could do a redo. Maybe it's just so fucked, we got to do this election again. There's just a primary, right? November, that's the general election. So let's just redo this thing, or let's just do this again in November, right? Everybody that's a candidate in the primary, they're a candidate again in the general election. Ranked choice voting can handle that. That's no problem. Close enough for a recount. So these motherfuckers are going to sit there and say that in spite of 11,000 votes that have not been counted, which means 11,000 votes can go any which way, and the difference of votes between the victor and the second place is 8,500. 8,500 vote difference. So 8,500 vote difference, still 11,000 votes out, and if there's, 4,500 votes, so that means if 4,000 votes goes from one way to another, right, because Eric Adams is winning by 8,500 votes, if he loses 4,000 votes somehow, or she gains 4,000 votes on him, now we got a recount. Now we have a recount, and this is by their own calculations. This is a 1% difference. This is the insurmountable totalitarian dictatorship, insurmountable lead that these, lamestream motherfuckers were declaring 2 weeks ago. A 1-point difference. A 1-point difference. The lamestream media, who, lied us into Iraq, and they hate and they don't understand ranked elections, so they're already, talking all their fucking bullshit to begin with. So we're going to sit there and say that Eric Adams has an insurmountable lead. 85. Didn't they just say, actually, that the Board of Elections and ranked elections, the whole thing is just a big sham and it's all fucking bullshit not 1 week ago? But in Peru, you got Pedro Castillo, who won the presidency with 50,000 votes, and Peru won't say who won that election either. So if an 8,500 vote difference is an absolute insurmountable impossibility, it can't be beaten. Well, shit, a 50,000 vote difference, that's a mind motherfucking blown victory. 8,500 vote difference, 1 percentage point difference, that's an absolute insurmountable impossibility. Then Peru, Pedro Castillo, that's a socialist victory that a blind man could see from 5,000 miles away. That's an overwhelming avalanche, a tsunami, a hurricane. My God, if this is insurmountable, if 8,500 votes is insurmountable, then 50,000 votes, well, that's just a, what the fuck, right? That's why is the other person even in the goddamn race? He won by 50,000. That's insurmountable. I mean, 8,500 is insurmountable, so 50 fucking thousand, that can't be beaten. That can't be beaten. Why the fuck is Kiko Fujimori, why the fuck is, because she's trying to get a coup and try to, shenanigans, to try to fuck up the election. Right, exactly. That's exactly what the fuck is going on in Peru. That's what's going on in Peru, and the exact opposite is going on here in New York City. So the Associated Press has called the race prematurely for Eric the motherfucking Adams, right? So Eric the motherfucking Adams is now the mayor since the AP's called it. Well, shit, that's how democracy works. Well, the AP's declared. Let's just go home, right? That's it, right? The AP, CNN, they went ahead and, declared, is that how democracy works? Maybe they're just painting our perception. If that's... the way I understand democracy, the way that democratic republics work is that the people go out to vote, and then you count those votes, and then whoever gets a majority of those votes, they're the winner. I don't know, am I the crazy one here? Because I feel like that's how democratic republics work. Here in New York City, they're not waiting for all the votes. They're not even counting all the votes, and they're just saying, fuck it. Let's just wait for lamestream media to declare it. Eric hasn't won until Fox News says so. Lamestream media makes you feel like they know something that you don't. So this is, 2000 all over again. How do we know that Baby Bush won the 2000 election and not Ralph Nader? Well, because Fox News declared it so. Fox News said Baby Bush won and the rest of the country just fell in line. Perception is power. Fox News and the Supreme Court, they stole that 2000 election away from Ralph Nader. So New York City, it's called Count the Votes First, you motherfuckers. It's actually called Get the Votes In First, and then you count them second, you motherfuckers. Jesus Christ. You haven't got the votes in yet, and you haven't even counted the votes yet? And then it's called whoever gets the support of the majority of the people is the champion. He won a plurality. He got 31%. That's not over 50%. If you get over 50%, that's the champion. That's the mayor. What instant runoff voting does for the people is it does like 5 or 6 or 7. It does 13 different elections. Instead of having everybody come back out and just voting between Catherine Garcia and Eric Adams, which is Kyrgyzstan's cutthroat election. It's a runoff election, but it's only one runoff election, not 13 runoff. It's not instantaneous, and you have to get everybody to come back out, and it's a lower turnout rate, and there's issues with it, but maybe New York City could have, done that first. It seems like maybe that would have been better at this point. But it's not the ranked elections' fault, right? Board of Elections, it's human error. And you see how the goddamn, media is sitting there trying to declare the election for one over the other. So New York City, you gotta get the votes in. You gotta get the votes in and you gotta count the votes, you stupid motherfuckers. That's how it works. Jesus Christ. Fox News and the Supreme Court stole that 2000 election away from Ralph Nader. We're not going to let that shit happen ever again. So the person who wins is the one that gets the majority of the people greater than 50%. That's a democratic republic. That's assuming New York City is an actual democratic republic. So the AP and CNN are just coming all over themselves, right? These are premature ejaculators. Chill the fuck out. AP, CNN, Associated Press, and what CNN is Turner News Network. Chill the fuck out. Are you just trying to fuck up the election? Is that what you're trying to do? You definitely know Abraham Lincoln vampire hunters. That's for goddamn sure. Last week, CNN declared ranked elections dead and gone. So ranked elections is a zombie. It's a skeleton. It's dead and gone. Hey, CNN, AP, which the fuck is it? Board of Elections. Everybody shitted on the Board of Elections of New York City, rightfully so, for adding 135,000 random sample ballots to the tabulation. I wonder if they were just actually adding those absentee ballots to the thing, but it doesn't matter. Everybody's criticizing the Board of Elections, you know, for their fucking bullshit last week, and they shouldn't have added the damn things. In fact, they shouldn't even be doing the tabulation until they've got all the goddamn votes in. Just like Maine, you collect all the votes in, and you have to do it that way because you're knocking the bottom candidate out. So how do you know who's the loser? Who's the last place loser? And you know what? There's probably, 500 votes for one and 1,000 to another? So who the last place loser in a ranked election fucking matters. And you're telling me that there's 11,000 votes that are out? This whole thing can still change. This whole thing can still change. So CNN, just last week, CNN, AP, everybody was shitting all over New York City's Board of Elections. I think de Blasio said that the Board of Elections is outdated and fucking something about the dynastic or something. So it's, you know, the same people that's been running this shit's been running it for 100 years or some fucking shit. It's got to get reworked and revamped, and everybody was just so pissed off because, you know, they made a fucking human error. Like, shit, motherfuckers, get over it. But they're, you know, shitting a brick, and, you know, for good reason. But now the Board of Elections of New York City is the end-all, be-all for New York City democracy. Which is it, lamestream media? You can't have it both ways, you motherfucking ranked election-hating motherfuckers, you goddamn Democratic Republic-hating motherfuckers, you hypocritical sons of bitches. Jesus fucking Christ. Now the Board of Elections is the end-all, be-all when it was a piece of shit not a week ago. Which is it? Which is it? So let's look at some of the numbers, okay? New York, hey, New York City, okay? Democracy. Let's talk about democracy. This is how democracy works, okay? So here goes. First, the numbers. New York City ranked tabulation went all 13 rounds with Eric Adams winning the last round. How does that give you confidence? After 13 runoff elections, he won the 13th round at the very end before all the goddamn votes are in? Who the fuck could declare an end to this thing? Anybody who's like, just wrap it up already. Just hurry up and wrap it up. Tucker Carlson was happy about it, so I guess you got conservative motherfuckers. Conservative motherfuckers want Eric Adams to win. Progressives, I guess, are pulling for Maya Wiley, and I guess Catherine Garcia is just going to be the big compromise consensus candidate. Maybe. I can't stand Catherine Garcia, but now I'm like, fucking run, Catherine, run. Go, Catherine, go. Holy shit. If Maya Wiley, hell, even if it was Diane Morales, Paperboy, don't give up yet. Don't give up now. Don't give up now. You need to know the goddamn, you may have won the thing, but they're not ranking all the votes. You need to know, now we need to know the votes. We need to know the tabulations. Give us a PowerPoint display. Take us point by point. How did you count these votes? How did you do the tabulations? Did you just knock everybody out under 5%, or did you do it, 13, 4, 12, 11? We need to know precisely how you're doing this shit. New York City Board of Elections. So it's going to go all 13 rounds, and then he's going to win the last round by 8,400 votes, 8,424. I just round up 8,500 votes. So that's what, again, even with that last time they said that it fucked up, but it said Eric Adams won. So which is it? Are they fucking up, or is it exactly how it's supposed to be? So Eric Adams could still win this thing, but it's just nobody knows. There's no way that you can know for sure. And in a democracy, when it comes to getting power in a democratic republic for you know, a nation, a city, state. So, like New York City, that's 8.5 million souls. Who's going to have dominion? Who's going to have power over 8.5 million souls? You better get that right. Get the fucking election. Get the numbers right. Take all the time that you fucking need. Take all the time that it's a primary. You got months until the November election. If you need to take a month to, you know, litigate it in court after, you know, this isn't done yet because you still got the 12th, the 9th, right? Today is the 7th. So it's the 7th. There's supposed to be that you got 2 more days before the cured ballots can get in, and then you got the rest of the absentee ballots that they haven't counted. And they were telling us by the week of July 12th, which is next week, they'll know, you know, with 100% certainty who won and who did not win because they got all those votes in. Now that hand count would come into play if there's a half a percentage point between the candidates. It's about 4,500 votes in this case. Let's see. Eric Adams is winning by 8,500 votes. A hand count's possible if there is a difference of 40. So that's 4,000 vote difference. So that's not a victory, but close enough for a recount. And then that means Catherine Garcia is just, you know, hanging on by the skin of her chinny chin. Holy fuck! This is, you know, this is exciting. Maya Wiley, Catherine Garcia, don't give up yet. Now, the Board of Elections, they did not say how many absentee ballots were actually left to count, but somebody did some calculations and they added it up. There was 118. They said that there was 118,000 new absentee ballots were added to the mayor tally, and then they know that about 126,000 absentee ballots were actually submitted. So if you had 126,000 absentee ballots that were submitted, and then 118 are in, well, that's a difference of 8,000 votes. So that's a difference of 8,000 votes. And then, you know, the cured ballots, they might just, those 4,000 votes might still be hanging out there. So now it's just a difference of 4,000 votes. It's getting close. It's getting close. So, you know, this is almost everything. But since it's not 100%, don't you want to be 100%? In a democratic republic, like, he won. All you need is one vote to win, you know. All you need to do is beat the other person by one vote. Get more votes than the other person. If you beat them by one vote, if you're the one that gets the majority, you're the one that gains 50%, you're the consensus candidate, and you beat them by just one vote, you get to be mayor. And so every single vote counts. Every single vote is powerful. Let's see, 7,700 votes, difference possibly 3,700 ballots. Eric Adams is, let's see, they say he's up. No, it's not 10,000, 8,500 ballots, and there's still 11,000 more ballots out. And, you know, the whole thing about this ranked elections and the way that people are discussing and talking about it, they're talking about it, they're thinking about it all wrong. They're thinking about it all wrong. So the way that the AP did the calculations were, okay, so how big is Eric Adams' lead? 8,500 votes. Oh, okay. How many votes are there still out, you know, that are still left? 8,000, 11,000 or so. Well, shit. If, you know, if he's winning by 8,500 and there's 8,000 votes that are left, well, then that means, you know, that's insurmountable, right? That's an impossibility. But it also could be 11,000 too, so we don't know the exact numbers there. It's close. Don't get me wrong, it's close. But the reason why they're thinking about it completely wrong and the reason why 11,000 ballots could change the whole thing is because it's a ranked election. That means everything. It's a ranked election. You don't think about counting from the top down. You think about counting from the bottom up. There's 13 candidates. Most New Yorkers didn't even know that. They only reported, the media, the mainstream media only talked about 8 candidates. You got to go from the bottom up. Who is the last place loser? And then who's the second last place loser? Who's the third place loser? And then you knock each one of those candidates out and you redistribute their votes. And you keep knocking the loser out until you get a majority victor, until you get one of the candidates that have greater than 50%, you know, that have more than the 50%, until there's a majority victor, until you have a democratic republic, a legitimate democracy. You have to, for a legitimate democracy, you got to have greater than 50% of the people come out to come vote. 50% plus 1, but more precisely, greater than 50%. So when we find out who New York City loves, the voters of New York loves, more than 50% of these voters had approved of one of these candidates over the other candidate. We don't know yet who they have picked. You got Isaac Wright Jr., you got Jocelyn Taylor, Paperboy Love Prince, you got Aaron Foldenauer, you got Art Chang, Andrew Yang, Scott Stringer, Raymond McGuire, Sean Donovan, all these people, Eric Adams, Diane Morales, Maya Wiley. You got 13 candidates. You got 13 candidates total. And you won't know who the last place loser is until you've got every single fucking vote in. Until you've got every single goddamn motherfucking vote in, you don't even know who the first place loser is. You don't even know who you're going to kick off first. Who's the worst loser? That's the person that gets kicked off first, and then you start doing the tabulations. Then you find the fourth place loser, fifth place, sixth place, and then you just go on until you find a majority victor. That's how it works. It's a survivor. You got to knock the bottom one out, the bottom one, bottom, and then this one took 13 rounds. So this took, they call it the penultimate round, because it went all the way to the fucking last goddamn round, which means this is a close election, which means every single vote matters, every single vote counts. So what can those 11,000 remaining votes do? Those 11,000 remaining votes, they can change everything. They can change just a little tiny butterfly effect, right? Maybe they just barely change anything, a dent in the fucking, a dent in the goddamn whatever, a bump in the road, but nothing big, nothing substantial. Or it could change the whole goddamn shebang. It could be a tiny little butterfly effect, or it could be a major butterfly effect. 11,000 votes the way that the ranked choice voting tabulation will be processed, tabulated, the way it will be mathematically figured out will be completely different. Once those votes come in, you'll actually be able to start the tabulation. Until you have all the votes, you can't even start the tabulation because you don't know who the last place loser was. Who was the last place loser? Was it Isaac Wright? Hey, AP. Hey, CNN. Was it Jocelyn Taylor? Was it Paperboy? Was it Aaron Foldenauer? Was it Raymond McGuire? Who was the last place loser? Until you can tell me who the last place loser was, you can't say anything else because you can't tabulate anything else. So, that butterfly, like I said, it's a butterfly effect. It's a possibility. It's not an insurmountable lead like that. They've been trying to call this goddamn thing a week or two ago. They're still trying to push the goddamn thing. CNN just said it was, ranked elections is dead and gone, and now all of a sudden they're sitting there saying that, ranked elections is a shit, and we just got Eric the motherfucking Adams is the cop. We got a cop to become... So the conservative Democrats and the conservative Republicans and the conservative establishment, they've all picked Eric Adams, so they want to hurry up. Just call victory, right? But Paperboy Prince is correct when he says, let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the tabulations. They fucked with the numbers just a week ago. And, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but it was big enough to be like, why did they add those votes into the damn thing? And people want to say, I feel like all you Donald Trump supporters want to look at New York City and say, see, Democrats, they don't know how to fucking count the vote. There can be fucking fraud. Of course there can be fraud, but you need massive widespread voter fraud for... Anyways, so the 11,000 votes that are still out, the 7,000 absentee votes, the 4,000 votes that still can be cured, they can redetermine this entire motherfucking thing. Or... they just might reinforce, how things are going. It could change things, and it may not. Now, history is leaning towards Eric Adams and against Catherine Garcia. The first-round leader won 383 out of 398 single-winner ranked choice voting races nationwide from 2004 through February 2021. So, if you're the plurality winner, if you're the Eric Adams, basically 99.9999% of the time you won. 383 out of 398. That means there was only, goddamn 15. There was only 15 elections with ranked choice votings that had an Eric Adams that actually got beat by a second or third or, somebody else. One of the come-from-behind winners, a dark horse candidate. So you only had 15 out of nearly 400 ranked choice elections. So most likely, right, most likely, Eric Adams will win this thing. Take a fucking breath, he's going to fucking win this thing. But if you don't count every single vote, I got a question. What the fuck are you guys doing? You got to get all the votes in, and then you got to count all the votes, and then you can start the tabulation. That's how Maine does it. You get all the votes in first. So the largest first-round deficit overcome to win was 9.3 points. So in the end, it would have been unprecedented in a modern ranked choice election for Garcia to win. So they're saying of those 15 times that somebody, a second place or a third place person, beat the first round winner, it was only they beat a 9 percentage point difference. And they were saying that he was up by 10 percentage points. Yeah, that's when they were saying he was insurmountable, right, when he was up. But we've seen how close this shit gets. By the election last week, you know, Catherine Garcia was within 2 points. And then with this preliminary unofficial count, we see Catherine Garcia get within 1 point of Eric Adams. She gets in within 1 point. So you got, you know, the AP, CNN, they're declaring the shit. Eric Adams are playing fucking politics. They're declaring something that they don't know to be true. So they're playing politics because that's what it looks like. Power is perception. And what I mean by that is when you look at Twitter and you look online, you look at the newspapers and everybody says that Eric the Adams won, right? Just like Dewey. Dewey beats Truman. When you see everybody saying that, you know, that the way things are is one way, you get used to the idea. You get used to Baby Bush. Oh, maybe Baby Bush did win the thing. Maybe Eric Adams did win the thing. And so when you start to settle, and once you get used to it and it starts to, then you're not going to fight it. You're not going to rebel. But if there's shenanigans, count all the votes. The whole point of ranked choice election is to give power to the New York City voter. You have way more power. New York City, your voter, your average voter, you got way more power than you've ever fucking had the entire time. Why would you not count every single vote? Why did you even rank the goddamn candidates if you weren't even going to do the damn ranked elections to begin with? We can't do the ranked elections until all the cured votes are in and all the absentee ballots have been counted. So we shouldn't see any goddamn results until next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I was like, that's probably when they'll come out, right? So after a month, it's like, goddamn, a fucking month. Now I'm worried. But frankly, this seems like it's going, you know, consistent with the process. There seems to be a timetable, and you know, every day they see, you know, they did a preliminary thing last week. They did one yesterday. And so they'll do another one, you know, 1 week from today. Now, one last thing I want to mention is that there were 74,000 exhausted ballots. You stupid motherfuckers. New York City, you about fucked this shit up. This is to the voters of New York City. You almost fucked this shit up. 74,000 exhausted ballots. You know what that means? That means you didn't rank. You voted for your one candidate, you stupid motherfucker, or, you know, which I'm only going to point this out because, you know, Paperboy is intelligent, but Paperboy only voted for Paperboy. Now, his vote didn't fucking matter because it's between Garcia, Maya Wiley, and, you know, Eric Adams. But if Paperboy would have voted for Garcia or Maya Wiley or Eric Adams in his 2, 3, 4, or 5 spot, then his vote would have counted. Instead, 74,000 exhausted ballots. So that means you had people that went out there that only voted for one candidate or two candidates, Diane Morales or bust, right? Diane Morales, and that's it. And then she got, you know, eliminated. Now your vote doesn't even count. 74,000 exhausted ballots. 74,000 ballots that were wasted because the people of New York City didn't know how to fucking vote properly. They didn't understand ranked elections totally. It's not, you know, a big number. 74,000 isn't like, you know, I think, what was there, 1 million voters, which that's 8.5 million people. There's only 1 million voters. But okay, Eric Adams, they're saying that Eric Adams is up by 8,500 votes, right? Eric Adams is up by 8,500 votes over Catherine Garcia. Well, 74,000 votes can change an 8,500 vote difference very easily, very easily. So if New York City, if every single voter, if those 74,000 assholes would have voted correctly, then you would have seen Catherine Garcia would have easily have become the mayor. Right, most likely Catherine or Maya, because, you know, most likely they'll vote liberal, right, or progressive. So New York City motherfuckers who only listed one or two candidates like an asshole, not ranking anybody else, or for those who had top 5 candidates, maybe you ranked all 5 candidates, but you didn't include the top 3, viable top-tier candidates like a fool. You didn't utilize the total power of ranked elections. Pick 4 long-shot candidates, and then for number 5, pick one of the